They're going to do that every time. It's the same joke every time if we just do it every time.
And then everybody...
We have just listened to the Peter Dinklage kind of Game of Thrones theme, so now it's stuck in everyone's head. So if I start humming that, then you're welcome. And then you can start humming it. And if you haven't seen it, then you should go Google Peter Dinklage Game of Thrones opening, and you will be impressed. The guy is an amazing singer. Anyway, so we're here again today to me and Jason, that is, to review the new Game of Thrones chapter pack, The Fall of Astapor. Is the third pack in the Blood and Gold cycle, and we're gonna get right into it.
All that work to get that straight, and you just toss it.
Yeah, I told him not to do it,
It's
and
true.
then he's like, is that that's good, right?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
looks good.
Let's put it up a little bit. So the first card we have is, you can look at these if you want, Jason.
No, I'm looking at this.
Okay, I'm gonna do this one here then. All right, is Roaming Wolfpack. It's a 6-cost military icon, 6 strength, Stark non-loyal card. It's got the direwolf trait, so all you direwolf fans will be able to, have more direwolves. And what's better than one direwolf? A whole deck of them. It has the Intimidate keyword and no attachments. And while Roaming Wolfpack is attacking, each attacking direwolf character gets +2 strength. So, what do you think of that guy?
I think if you want to put a wolf deck together and Stark, you probably need this card, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it passes the vanilla test well, and I guess it gives you, if you can afford it, it gives you a lot of like tech, because there's a lot of like, there's a card that lets you like tap a direwolf to put another card in the challenge. So if you did that, this guy could be in an intrigue, or it could be in a power because of the way that entering a challenge thing works. So yeah, but it's kind of expensive.
Right.
Intimidate's good on it though, because it's pretty strong, and it's going to get stronger. So maybe that's the combo here, is seeing Intimidate on a character, on a bunch of stuff where you're going to win by 4 or 5 and be able to kneel some big character.
Right, so that you can get everything through.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll move on there. Direwolves are usually good, so, if you like direwolves. The next card we have is the Stark version of the event we were talking about in the last 2 packs, the one where you can get it back if something happens in the game. Sorry, let me put this one here. If we're going to do that, because I need to read it. The 2-cost event, The North Remembers. Someone's about to get beheaded on this picture, it looks like. The challenge is a challenge action after a player sacrifices a character or each player sacrifices a character or location. And the reaction is, after a character you control is killed, pay 1 gold to return it from your discard pile to your hand. So,
I think, well, to me, this is the kind of card that works if you've got somebody you don't care about losing, and they have somebody great, right?
There's a few cards like that in this pack, especially the plot, where like you really, this could be something where like you really don't want to put a lot out there, but you have to position it so you're like sacrificing some kind of dummy, maybe like an econ location or something like that if you need to, or some kind of chud, and they have somebody big out. But the nice part is, I guess, after Valar or any of these other things, you can get this back. So like Heads on Spikes, you can get it back. Valar, you can get it back. Bad military round, you can get it back.
Well, I was thinking too, after a Valar, like if I don't know, if they're Night's Watch and they save somebody, or if somebody gets saved, then you're in a state where they're ahead of you now.
Then you have a killed character, so you could have returned it, and you can play it again for 2, which, if you have a bunch of money in the middle of the face, maybe this fits in like a Stark Lannister kind of combo-y deck. All right, next card is Eleanor Tyrell. So she's a 3-cost character with an intrigue and a power icon, so pretty good icons. 3 strength. She is unique. She is non-loyal. And it says you may marshal or play 1 additional limited card each round. And the big thing people are talking about, and just in case you're watching this video and haven't read anything else, you cannot use this to dupe limited attachments during the setup phase. So you can't play 2 Rose Roads, or you can't dupe the arbor in the setup phase. But you can dupe the armor in a normal area. That's the play part or martial part. And so that's kind of cool, is being able to play 2 of those attachments or 2 of those locations each turn, or even cards. I guess it doesn't even care about locations, but it is pretty powerful. That can really set you up in a good position.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the whole reason limited mechanics there is to keep you from like dumping a bunch down. So if you can get twice as much out per turn, that's.
And she's easily targeted by some removal, but she's still pretty good cost. I mean, I typically look at the vanilla test when we're looking at most characters in Game of Thrones, just like you with Magic. They have at least 1 icon. Do they have the strength equal to their cost? That's a pretty solid body. It's pretty affordable body, and it is targetable by like First Snow of Winter and all that stuff. But It's only 3 to play, so it's not too bad, especially if you're playing multiple limiteds each time. All right. So the next card is Silver Hairnet. So Silver Hairnet is a 2-cost attachment. It's only on a lady character, and attached character gains stealth. Not bad. While attached character is participating in a challenge, reduce the cost of each event you play by 1. So that can be pretty cool depending on what you played in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess events aren't typically terribly expensive.
They can be. It depends on what deck you're playing, really. I mean, I see this working well in something like I really wanted to play for a while, which is the like Alliance Lannister Stark Tyrell deck, where you have like a bunch of ladies and you're playing events to do things with ladies win challenges, and triggering that stuff could be cool, and giving them stealth would be really nice. But I also think it's kind of thematically weird that a silver hairnet that would obviously sparkle and glitter in the light would be like something that gives you stealth, but that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, some of the events you play, I mean, usually people are playing events that don't cost anything. That's why you don't see any. So maybe this opens up the area for playing more non-standard events.
Yeah, well, and then too, like how many events? I mean, you put some events in your deck, right? But it's not a ton. And given the fact that you barely go through your deck, like I don't know how many events are you going to play in a.
Yeah, that's what the people run, like those locations that let you search when you win challenges and stuff, so you can get those events out. But you're right. I mean, if you don't hit them, it could be a faulty combo. Faulty combo. This guy's really cool. I think there's some really cool stuff you can do. So, 4-cost character, intrigue icon. We're now into Night's Watch. It's a 2 strength character that is loyal. It's a wandering Kuro type, and it says you may choose not to stand Recruiter for the Watch, which is the name of the card, during the standing phase. As a marshalling action, you can kneel Recruiter for the Watch to choose a character with printed cost 2 or lower, and take control of that character until he leaves play or stands. So, if you can get him out for cheaper.
Right.
You could do some pretty cool stuff where you like maybe take some of their stuff and kill it. Use it as
fodder
for. And that's nice too, because you can keep him out. If you maybe give him like a practice blade or something like that to increase his strength above like insta kill territory.
Yeah.
You can kneel him and then take somebody and use that person they're playing every turn for your military claim all the time. Because he's not going to be doing anything with an intrigue because he's going to be knelt for.
For stealing. Yeah.
But he is an intrigue icon, so that's cool. In Night's Watch, that's something that they don't have a lot of. What do you think?
Yeah, I think. Obviously, a 2 power or lower, or 2 cost or lower isn't like you're not getting the craziest people out there, right? But like you said, like you can steal something, or if there's like an annoying little guy in your way.
Like you could take
some blocker, so to speak,
and not have to get rid of one of your attachments. Yeah, you could take a bunch of their econ stuff too, like the ones that they would kneel for econ. You could take that before they can marshal.
Yeah,
that would be cool. But yeah, so it could be a good one. Maybe like I'm not really good at saying 1-ofs or 2-ofs because this game has weird deck building that I don't truly understand yet. But maybe like a 1-of or 2-of is my attempt at guessing.
Yeah,
he might be too expensive for 2-of. This is so there's been a whole set of these locations. In this cycle so far, where they're 2-cost locations that are limited that like let you kneel for a gold, but if something is true, then you get to get 2 gold. So the one we saw last time was like Iron Island Markets, I think, which lets you get 2 gold if they have more than 7 cards in their discard pile. There's 2 in here. There's which one? I think there's not 2 in here. No, there is. There's the Dornish Fiefdom and the Underground Vault. So you'll see a bunch of these in this cycle. But yeah, Underground Vault's a 2-cost loyal location. It's limited. It's got the North keyword, and it says marshalling action, kneel it to gain 1 gold. 2 gold instead if the gold value on your opponent's revealed plot is 5 or higher. So I think you could maybe push that with some of the agendas. Like, isn't Knights of Summer increase the gold or something? No, increases the draw they get, so maybe not. But it kind of keeps you up to pace if they're getting a bunch of gold every turn.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like if they're putting out a lot of high gold or higher gold plots, then you can get a little extra out of it, right? I mean, like the decks I tend to play, I feel like mine aren't high gold.
More about initiative, plots. Less about gold. Yeah.
So it just depends, right? Like, if you get a matchup like that, then it can be good.
Yeah, I do think that 2-cost, I wonder how 2-cost fits in this setup. Like as setting this location up, do you keep this in hand and set up like Rose Road? Do you put this one out and not play a powerful character? I guess it depends on your setup hand, but I wonder if 2 cost is like right in the area where it's okay to have in your setup, or if it's like terrible and you don't want it.
Well, and it depends. I guess at that point too, you don't necessarily know what you're playing against, so you don't even know. Like you could put that out, right, and then they have a bunch of low gold plots, and then
you still get 1 gold a turn at least. Which, I mean, 3 turns it's paid for itself, hopefully. But yeah, that's true. It could be cooler if it didn't have such a uncontrollable trigger condition. The next card we have is Jason's. You want to read this one, Jason?
Flea bottom bastard. I like this.
It has the bastard trait, just in case you were wondering.
Yeah. How many bastards are in here? Like you could. I mean, there's
at least I can think off the top of my head at least 3 bastards, and at least 3 bastards exist in the game right now. Because you have Gentry and you have the bastard in hiding.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so you can. Okay. I just want to say
it's a 2 cost character with an intrigue and a power, so that's kind of interesting. It's got 2 icons. It can be pretty good at defending against stuff. 1 strength, so it's gonna get removed pretty easily if they have it. But during the dominance phase, it gets +3 strength. So if you can keep them standing, then
dominance getter, right?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't know. Like I feel like it's a little too fragile to like have, because you don't really have room in. I don't know. I don't really play dominance decks. I guess you were playing that Barrow Rush, but would you put this in that deck?
I mean, the Iron Throne, like that's a card that gets you dominance, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay. This next one's kind of cool. It's a 1 cost location, Spearling of the Spears of the Merlin King, Spearling of the Merge King or something. Spears of the Merlin King, a loyal location for Baratheon. It's in Westeros, and it says interrupt. When a character you control is killed, sacrifice Spear of the Merlin King to return that character to your hand instead of placing it in your dead pile. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that card.
And I was reading, and the thing I like about this is that it's a little bit better than Iron Mines, just because even though you have to play the character again,
right?
If like Iron Mines will save it, but if its strength is still 0, it'll die from an effect that would cause it to die if its strength was 0. So like, if you play like Dracarius on something, this will literally save it back to your hand and make sure you can play it again. But like Iron, any of the actual save and stay on the board cards would like save it and then it would die again. So like the state checks make it different, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Like, and your opponent's like, haha, I'm pulling out your 6-7 strength character, and you're like, no, you're not.
No, I'm good.
And
then the other part is, I think there's like, you can use this card to make like a crazy save deck if you do either Greyjoy Banner Stag or Baratheon Banner Kraken. You can get like 6 cards that save. So you can just have like all the saves from all the stuff that you're doing, which could be cool against, the annoyingness of Valar. All right, this next card is the first Lannister card. It is a 2 cost character with an intrigue icon and 3 strength. So you're already getting a little bit on the vanilla there, even though it's just a 1 icon.
Yeah.
It's loyal and it's a companion character. While Cersei's attendant, Cersei's attendant is the name. I keep forgetting to read the names. While Cersei's attendant is participating in a challenge against an opponent with no cards in his or her hand, Cersei's attendant gains insight. So, you could probably play some of this stuff with like the new Cersei and some of the cards out of the Lions of Castle Rock expansion.
Yeah, I mean, you do it with a deck where you're guaranteeing that they're out of cards, right?
And the new Cersei does that, and you probably want to go intrigue heavy and do like some of the stuff where you're like doing additional intrigue challenges every turn, but. Getting insight's good. It's a okay body, but it's an okay body with an icon that this faction already has a ton of. So like maybe it might go in. Depends on what you're doing. All right. So this next card is an attachment, a loyal Lannister attachment. It's a 1 cost and it's a dream, and it says opponent's character only. So it's like a negative attachment. Bestow 3. And after attached character is knelt, discard 1 gold from Fever Dreams to draw 2 cards. So that's kind of cool. What do you think about this card?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's if you need cards, right? If you need to get card draw, this is a card that'll give you some cards to give you more options, right? So it's one of those things that hopefully they're actually nailing it.
Or you can prevent them from attacking with character because they don't want you to draw. Right? And drawing's a big deal in this game. Yep. So you could like put it on like some big old character or somebody that they, really need to swing with
Yeah.
to start winning, and then you're like, you're giving me 2 cards for X amount of turns, where X is the amount you paid to play it.
And it's pretty cheap. Well, I mean, it's a cheap cost. You can throw up to 3 gold on it, but
yeah, and you wouldn't ever play it you can't play it for 1. It wouldn't do anything. So you have to play it for at least 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But there is some cool stuff coming out in the next set that's been spoiled that lets you put gold on cards. So there's a neutral event that lets you put gold on cards, which is kind of cool. So you can start running some of this bestow stuff a little better.
Yep.
I think it's kind of cool as a preventative card. So, if you're looking for that kind of like, don't swing or I'm going to get a bunch of stuff that you might not be able to defend against. So the first card of Greyjoy is a new Theon. So it's a 3-cost character with a military and power icon. He's a 2 strength, which is very little. He's unique, but he's not a loyal character. And he's got Ironborn Lord on it, so you can play him almost for free with noble, or noble cause. While Theon Greyjoy is attacking alone, each character with strength higher than his does not contribute strength to the challenge. So if you can keep Theon in a really nice 1 to 2 spot, you can even keep the chuds from blocking him, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so but he's so susceptible to the current meta is Targaryen, really heavy Targaryen decks.
Yeah.
So you got to be really careful when you're running somebody with 2 strength. I mean, but you're in Greyjoy, so you can save a lot. So it's not necessarily that bad. I think this is pretty cool in like a Greyjoy or a Lord of the Crossing rush.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, because you pointed at it as a low cost, but that's kind of the point of it, so that hopefully everybody else is higher than him, or most of the people that you care about, right? So you can get them through and get either a power or a military challenge in.
There could be maybe there's some cool tech you can do too, where you can get his strength to 0 without killing him, and then they don't declare defenders because they're nothing's gonna matter, and so then you just pump it up at the end so it's not unopposed, or so it actually goes through. That could be kind of cool, but I think I'd like to try this new Theon and see what happens, because there's a few other cards coming on this cycle that are gonna make Lord of the Crossing really crazy, like the cards we saw. I think one of the cards we saw last time. Oh no, it's in this one. Okay, keep going because we'll talk about it in a little bit. But again, the neutral cards in this one are pretty crazy. All right, the next one we got is a 1-cost attachment called the Corsair's Dirk. It's a weapon, and it can only be equipped to Ironborn characters. It gets +2 strength. That's pretty solid. 1 for 2. That's not bad.
Yep.
And after you win a challenge in which the attached character is attacking, move 1 gold from the losing opponent's gold pool to your own. So if you have some of those kind of Greyjoy events that are now not possible to play because you're running speed, you can probably play 1 or 2 of them, like loot or some of the other cards that you might not be able to afford. You can probably play with Greyjoy now if you are running Corsair's Dagger. And it is Ironborn only, but there's a decent amount of Ironborn characters in the Greyjoy rush decks and stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure. And then you're basically doing 2 gold swings, right? Because you're taking 1 from them, and you're getting 1. So that's kind of nice to. Maybe you could get a dominance off of it somehow, or something like that.
And it's after you win a challenge too. Oh, it's only when you're attacking. Sorry, I didn't read that whole thing. But yeah, you might want to. You're going to go first in Greyjoy anyway, and in the event or in the challenge phase, that's a pretty big deal. Is if they're planning on playing, Jacarius or something like that, they need that gold. And if you win and they don't do it, you can force their hand early, which could really help save your guys' butts. So the first of the Targaryen cards here, speaking of them, is Grey Worm. He's a 6-cost character with a military and intrigue, which is pretty cool. Military intrigue is a pretty good combo because there's a lot of power icons in this faction. 5 strength, and he's loyal. He's a companion, and he cannot have attachments except weapons. And then he has an action during a challenge in which he's attacking. Choose a defending character until the end of the phase or end of the challenge. That character gets -3. So that's kind of cool because you don't have to use it. So you can bluff it. You attack with them, and they're like, "So what do you want to do?"
Right.
But he's pretty good for. I think he costs more than the vanilla test would say is good, but his effect kind of makes up for it, because he just gets to do -3 strength to somebody.
Yeah, I mean it's I guess it's an okay card. The cost is, the vanilla test, like you said, it comes out pretty good. But I don't know.
I think it can
okay.
combo well with Blood of the Dragon, the one that's -1 strength, and if they're 0, they die. When you have that plot out, you can it's another effect that's going to reduce strength, and
true.
One of those turns could be really brutal when you have 2 cards, 2 or 3 cards in your blot deck that can just wipe their board. If you have Valar, that's one. If you have Blood of the Dragon, that's another one. And if you Dracarius isn't on an off turn, can actually make your opponent stay really bad. So I think Grey Worm's pretty solid. He's a little expensive, but again, there's ways to play for that now with the Great Hall and things like that. So
For sure.
next card we have is the title card. Low in cost location, a unique location called Astapor. It's a loyal Targaryen card. It is contested, so this is one of the cards that will work with the one of the cards we're going to talk about later in the pack. It's Bestow 4, and it says, action, kneel Astapor to choose a participating character. Until the end of the challenge, that character gets X strength. X is the number of gold on Astapor. You don't have to remove the gold from Astapor.
Right, well, and see, I feel, now, granted, you don't get to attack with this card, right, but if you want to do strength draining, this one is actually better than the previous one because it's 1 gold cheaper, technically, right? It's 1 to play, and then
because you could play 5, and then you get minus X strength, And the cool part is, the interesting part is it's an action. It's not a challenge action, but you can never do it outside the challenge. You never will matter outside the challenge phase, right? I wonder if that one. I wonder what does that mean? Does anybody see that some use there? Like Neil, you can only. It says until the end of the challenge, right? But you don't have to only activate it inside of a challenge, which makes me wonder if there's some type of tech I'm missing there. So feel free to comment on that if you know of why that might be like that. Because normally we just say challenge action.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway. Same thing with Grey Worm, I guess. But pretty solid Targaryen card. I think that's going to go in a lot of decks just because it's recurring Dracarius that doesn't kill things, but still effectively makes it so they can't defend. All right, now we're into Martell. So this Master of Sunspear is a 2-cost character with an intrigue icon and 2 strength. He is non-loyal. And it says, after you lose a challenge in which Maester of Sunspear is participating, choose an attachment and return it to its owner's hand. After you lose a challenge, sorry, I got distracted. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. Like this is, I mean, there's cards that permanently get rid of it. Like if you're thinking Milk of the Poppy or something like some you want to get rid of, right? Like this only temporarily gets rid of it, and then it's coming back. But it's a character. I mean, it's not a terribly strong character, but your vanilla test. I mean, it's got strength equal to the cost.
I think it could be techie because if you're losing a challenge to trigger this, which is nice because you're you don't really have to you don't care about winning. Like you just throw them into any block or any intrigue block, and then
you want them to lose.
Then you get to send a card back up, and then maybe you hit it with your intrigue challenge, or maybe you.
I mean, it goes back to the hand, so maybe you have a card that,
or maybe it's just they have to
get
pay
rid of
2
it out
gold
of their
next turn to
hand.
play it again.
Yeah,
right? Because it can hit their economy too.
Yeah.
It seems like an okay body, but if you can give them with Martell anyway, you can give people icons, so you might be able to give them a military and jump a military, or something like that, right? Because his effects will still go off even if he dies, I believe so, or even if he would be claimed as thing because this reaction is going to happen as soon as you lose.
Yep.
All right, the next one is a Dornish Fiefdom. This is the second card that does that kind of 1 to 2 gold based on the condition thing. It's limited. It's just a little bit easier to control from your point of view.
Yeah, if you're in a deck that's always going
second player. Neil Dornish Fiefdom to gain 1 gold, 2 gold instead if you're not the first player. So your opponent could win initiative. Like in a Greyjoy deck though, or some rush deck, you're not going to pick second player. You might if you think that they're going to use that 1 gold to do something dirty, but I think this one's a lot more solid than the other card. Just because the triggering conditions a lot
more reliable.
All right, get ready because these neutral cards are kind of cool. So the first neutral card we have is a Frey Lordling. It's a 3-cost character with a military and a power icon for 2 strength. It's got House Frey and the Lord title or the Lord traits. And it says after you initiate a challenge, Frey Lordling gets +1 strength till the end of the phase. So
is it Frey or is it Fry?
It's Frey. It's House Frey. Yeah. Okay. Just because that's how they pronounce it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if this was in the real world, I would say this is Fry, but that's why I asked because I didn't know.
Can somebody watching this please put the pronunciation with the little things in the dictionary? That way Jason can learn how to pronounce words.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. So I mean, he's gonna by the end of the phase, if you wait, he's gonna have 5 strength. Right? I mean, he'll have 5 strength in the 5th challenge because after you initiate the 3rd challenge, or the 3rd, not the 5th. Yeah, because he's going to get 1 for every challenge you initiate.
Right. So so you say if you want to do something with him as being a 5, you keep him for the 3rd challenge.
But even after he comes at 3 strength, even after you would attack with him or defend or
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, pretty interesting neutral card, especially since it's House Frey, which can combo as well with all the other cards that have been coming out. Like,
what if you comboed it with this, Kyle?
well, that's true. Well, this one and the one that's like Frey Hospitality that lets you do like if you win by 20 or more, you get to like kill like 3 characters or something. Like by the time that guy's going, you already have 5. And so you get +2 from Lord of the Crossing, so that's 7. You attack with 3 or 4 more guys, and you have like 28 in strength, and they can't block it. And
save the dude, save him for 3rd challenge. If you have this out, you can benefit.
Yeah, so this one's the Twins, a unique location for 2. It's House Frey in the Riverlands traits, and it says during the 3rd challenge you initiate each phase. If you control an attacking House Frey character, raise the claim value on your revealed plot card by 1. So I don't know. I'm a fan of raising claim values because this means that on the 3rd challenge you can do something on a Valar turn. Right. If you have a House Frey guy out, that's kind of cool. And on a really good power turn for Lord of the Crossing, you could get like 6 power maybe if you attack with the right stuff. That's a pretty big swing.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
So this card looks cool. It's unique, so you can dupe it, which is nice for removal. But there's a few decks out there that can, like, there's a card, the Sea Bitch itself can actually just take this away. So like if they're seeing you about to just like ramp up this combo, they're like, not today. Or like stealing a wall, like when someone Night's Watch is about to win. So this last one is the last neutral card. It's an event, 1 cost called Lay Siege. It is a siege type. And it says action, choose a kneeling location. That's kind of cool on its own, choosing a kneeling location. So you can, this is good tech against that crazy wall nonsense where like 4 haunted forests or 3 haunted forests in a wall and you're like, the wall is melt.
Yes.
But if that location is contested, you discard it from play. So again, we were talking about Astapor contested.
Right.
The Heron Halls are contested. I'm sure there's a few other ones too, but basically, thematically, any place that has a battle over it or for it or change control in the story of Game of Thrones is a contested keyword. That's pretty cool. Getting rid of a contested, like getting rid of Heron Hall before they can kill your character, not letting the Lannister Heron Hall bounce your stuff back and forth.
Yep.
That can be really helpful. Really helpful. So like, you're about to marshal a legit character, you lay siege to Heron Hall and then marshal it and you don't have to worry about losing it, right?
We're on the last card, and I'm a little sad because none of the cards had that cool art that...
Oh yeah, none of them were songs this time?
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's a good reason to be sad. Maybe next time, right? So I always like when we get to look at cards that were designed by champions, and so this is a cool one, and it's got a lot of interesting things with going on with it. So this plot is called Duel. It's a 6 reserve plot, 4 gold, 5 initiative, and 1 claim, and it's a war type. Now, it says, when revealed, choose an opponent. That opponent chooses 2 non-army characters, each with the printed cost 6 or higher. Then that player chooses and kneels one of those characters. Kill the other. Cannot be saved. So, this is like, if you can set this up right, the people are talking about this being the plot you play like when you're really down and out. Like, they've saved 2 characters on a Valar and you save none.
Yep.
You play Duel, they have to kill one of their characters and kneel the other. Yeah. And it's like, you're like, oh my god. And it's funny because you would think Duel would be like between you and them. Right? But this Duel is like between, you're probably going to only want to play it between their own characters, right? Sure. It looks like some wildlings are fighting there, so that makes a lot of sense. But I think it's pretty cool.
I think this could definitely go in decks for sure, and help you get back in a game that maybe you were going to start losing.
Oh yeah, because that means for like one whole turn, like they get to pick the characters, but they have to be 6 or higher. Like, which means that they're losing a really big character, or they're losing the dupe on it,
right?
Or they'd have to just lose the dupe because they played Valar.
So you keep this in your plot deck, and you can only put 1 because it's got plot deck limit of 1.
Yeah, and you let Valar go first when you flip this plot on Valar's turn. So I think it's kind of cool. I don't know if it like goes everywhere, but it definitely could be teched into a lot of decks because you're like, okay, I know this deck needs a little bit of like get up and go after. You get 4 gold from it, which is actually a decent amount if you have like 1 or 2 econs, so you can play like a 6 or maybe 2-3 characters. But that should be pretty cool. I'm really interested to see what people do with that. Well, that's all we have for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed us going through the Fall of Astapor. The next pack is going to provide some pretty cool stuff. There's some pretty sweet cards in the next pack and a new agenda too that are going to kind of make things a little crazy if I recall correctly. But make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, you want me to put this back? Yeah. Like up in the top? Yeah. Okay. You want me to like get it perfect like you had it before?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. So make sure to like and subscribe to our channel and our Facebook page and all the kind of social media stuff we do here. Also, come down on Tuesdays and Saturdays for our living card game or Fantasy Flight gaming nights. We should be getting kits next quarter for most of the LCGs that we have, so Neverrunner, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, stuff like that. So keep an ear out for those tournaments. Those will be on our calendar on our website. And, if you guys have any comments or any other combo tech or anything you want to tell us about, put it in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
All right, see ya.